In a world full of distractions, doubts, and endless noise, the secret to true success lies in cultivating bold focus. Dr. Wayne Dyer teaches us that clarity of mind, courage in action, and strength of spirit can turn ordinary lives into extraordinary journeys. This speech, How to Win with Bold Focus, is about sharpening your vision, silencing negativity, and stepping into a life driven by intention and unstoppable determination. The power of clear intention is one of the greatest forces that can shape a person's life, because intention acts as both the compass and the engine that drives every action, decision, and outcome. When a person sets an intention with absolute clarity, they are no longer drifting through life waiting for circumstances to dictate their direction. Instead, they become deliberate creators of their reality. Intention begins in the mind, but it is not just wishful thinking or vague desires. A clear intention is born out of awareness, conviction, and the belief that what one holds in thought can manifest in life. Imagine a person who wakes up each morning without a sense of what they want to achieve. Their energy gets scattered, their focus diverted, and they find themselves reacting to whatever the world throws at them. But contrast that with someone who starts the day by declaring what matters most, by identifying the outcomes they seek, and by aligning their inner energy with that vision. The difference between these two approaches is the difference between existing and truly living with purpose. Clear intention brings direction. It transforms confusion into clarity, and it converts passive waiting into active pursuit. Intention is not the same as a goal, though they are deeply connected. Goals are often external markers, things like earning a certain income, reaching a milestone, or accomplishing a task. Intention, on the other hand, is deeper. It is the inner state of being that shapes the journey toward those goals. For example, a person might set a goal to build a business, but the intention behind it could be to create freedom, to serve others, or to leave a legacy. When that inner intention is clear, the actions become infused with meaning. Even setbacks become more bearable because the why is so strong that it pulls the person forward despite obstacles. This is why Wayne Dyer often emphasized living intentionally. When you choose to focus on intention, you are essentially choosing the energy that will guide your actions. It is like planting seeds in the soil of your mind and nurturing them until they grow into reality. Without clarity of intention, the seeds are scattered, never taking root. With clear intention, however, the seeds are planted deeply, cared for, and destined to flourish. Clarity is essential because a vague intention produces vague results. Many people say they want happiness, success, or peace, but when asked to define what that actually looks like in their lives, they cannot answer with certainty. A person who wants success might never achieve it if they don't clarify whether success means financial wealth, freedom of time, deep relationships, or creative fulfillment. The universe, so to speak, responds to clarity. When you declare a specific intention, such as, I intend to live with gratitude each day, or I intend to build a life where I use my talents to inspire others, you create a mental blueprint. This blueprint informs your subconscious, it shapes your decisions, and it influences the opportunities you notice. The clearer the intention, the sharper the focus, and the more aligned your actions become. It is almost like turning on a spotlight in a dark room. Suddenly, what was hidden becomes visible, and you are able to navigate toward it with confidence. One of the most transformative aspects of clear intention is the way it commands focus. Human attention is limited. What we concentrate on expands in our awareness, while what we neglect fades into the background. If your intention is muddled, your focus drifts from one thing to another, wasting precious time and energy. But when intention is precise, it acts like a lens that filters distractions. You stop wasting energy on things that don't align with your vision. For example, if someone's clear intention is to improve their health, they naturally begin to notice healthier food options, prioritize exercise, and make time for rest. Temptations don't disappear, but the clarity of their intention reduces the power of those distractions. The same principle applies in careers, relationships, or personal growth. Clear intention disciplines the mind, and a disciplined mind creates powerful outcomes. Another important dimension of clear intention is its relationship with belief. You cannot hold a strong intention if deep down you doubt its possibility. Intention thrives when it is supported by faith. Faith in yourself, faith in the process, and faith in the unseen forces that conspire to help those who are aligned with their purpose. This faith does not mean ignoring reality or pretending challenges don't exist. Rather, it is the quiet conviction that despite the challenges, your intention is guiding you toward a reality that is achievable. When people lack belief, Their intentions crumble at the first sign of difficulty. But when belief is present, intention becomes unshakable. It carries you through fear, rejection, and setbacks because you know with every fiber of your being that what you have set in motion will eventually manifest. Living with clear intention also changes the way you interact with others and with the world. People are drawn to those who radiate clarity and certainty. Leaders who are intentional inspire trust because their words and actions are aligned. Friends and partners feel secure around those who live intentionally because they know where that person stands. Intention creates alignment not only within yourself, but also in your relationships and environments. For example, a person whose intention is to spread kindness will naturally cultivate friendships and opportunities that mirror that energy. A business leader whose intention is to innovate will attract like-minded individuals who share that drive. In this way, intention becomes magnetic. The energy you project pulls in circumstances, people, and opportunities that resonate with your vision. One of the most powerful practices to strengthen clear intention is visualization. Visualization is not merely daydreaming, but an active process of mentally rehearsing your desired outcomes. When you hold an image of what you intend to create and feel the emotions associated with it, you are reinforcing the intention in your subconscious. Athletes use this method to improve performance, seeing themselves completing the perfect run or scoring the winning shot. Professionals use it to prepare for presentations, seeing themselves speak with confidence and clarity. Visualization makes the intention more real, and the brain begins to act as though it has already happened, which increases the likelihood of actual success. This practice works because the mind does not easily distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. By repeatedly reinforcing your clear intention, you prime your body and mind to act in alignment with it. Yet, intention is not only about personal achievement. It also encompasses how we want to show up in the world. A person might intend to live with compassion, to inspire others through creativity, or to bring healing into their community. These intentions extend beyond personal gain and contribute to something greater. When your intention serves not only yourself but also others, it gains extraordinary power. This is because selfless intentions resonate on a deeper level and often attract even greater support. For example, a teacher who sets an intention to nurture potential in every student may face challenges, but will experience fulfillment and inspiration that keep them moving forward. In such cases, intention becomes a calling rather than just a strategy. Clarity of intention also simplifies decision-making. Life constantly presents choices, some small and some monumental. Without intention, decision-making becomes overwhelming because every option seems equally valid. But when your intention is clear, it becomes a filter through which you evaluate choices. If your intention is to live a healthy lifestyle, the choice between fast food and a nourishing meal is no longer difficult. If your intention is to deepen your relationships, the choice between scrolling endlessly on your phone or having a meaningful conversation becomes obvious. The clearer the intention, the easier it becomes to align your daily actions with it, and consistency in these actions creates momentum that compounds over time. Living with clear intention also requires self-awareness and honesty. Many people set intentions based on external pressures, what society expects, what family wants, or what peers are doing. But true clarity only comes from within. It is about asking yourself the deeper questions. What do I truly value? What brings me alive? What legacy do I want to leave? Without this honesty, intentions remain shallow and they crumble when tested. But when you strip away the noise and connect with your authentic desires, you discover intentions that are strong enough to withstand any challenge. These are the intentions that become life-defining. The journey of intention is not about perfection, but about alignment. It is not about having every detail figured out, but about setting a direction that aligns with your core values and walking toward it step by step. Each action, no matter how small, becomes infused with power when it is connected to intention. Even when the path is unclear, the intention serves as a light that guides you forward. You may not know how everything will unfold, but the why behind your actions keeps you grounded and moving forward. Over time, this clarity shapes your reality in ways you could not have imagined at the beginning. Overcoming distractions with discipline is one of the most critical skills in a world that is constantly pulling at our attention. Every day we are bombarded by notifications, advertisements, conversations, and endless streams of information that compete for the same limited space in our minds. Left unchecked, these distractions scatter our energy, dilute our focus, and keep us from reaching the deeper levels of concentration needed for success. Discipline becomes the anchor that keeps us steady in the midst of chaos, the inner force that allows us to stay true to what matters most even when temptations, interruptions, and diversions try to drag us off course. Discipline is not about punishing oneself or living a rigid, joyless life. Rather, it is about creating boundaries that protect our time, energy, and mental clarity so that we can direct them toward the goals and intentions we value most. When people think of distractions, they often imagine obvious ones like social media, television, or procrastination, but distractions also come in subtler forms. Doubt, fear, perfectionism, and even overthinking are internal distractions that rob us of progress. You may sit at your desk with the best of intentions to work, but instead you spend hours questioning whether you are ready, whether you will succeed, or whether someone else could do it better. This inner chatter is just as destructive as any external interruption. Discipline is what silences that chatter. It is the decision to act regardless of how you feel, to stay committed regardless of temporary discomfort, and to redirect your attention back to the task at hand whenever it starts to drift. In this way, discipline is not only about saying no to outside distractions, but also about mastering the mind within. The power of discipline lies in its consistency. Anyone can focus for a few minutes or even a few days when motivated, but true discipline is the art of sustaining focus over weeks, months, and years. Think of athletes who train every morning regardless of weather or mood, or writers who sit at their desk daily even when inspiration does not flow. Their results are not products of luck, but of disciplined focus that accumulates over time. Each small act of discipline builds upon the last, creating habits that become second nature. Eventually, discipline transforms into freedom, because when your habits are aligned with your vision, you no longer waste time battling distractions. The structure you create liberates you from chaos and indecision. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen discipline against distractions is to establish routines. Routines may sound restrictive, but in reality, they provide stability in an unstable world. A morning routine, for example, sets the tone for the day by deciding in advance what the first hours of your day will look like. Whether it is exercise, meditation, journaling, or focused work, you eliminate the need to make decisions in the moment where distractions are more likely to win. Similarly, creating a routine for work blocks or study sessions allows you to enter a state of deep focus more quickly because your mind has been conditioned to expect it. Over time, routines become rituals that protect your attention from being scattered. Another dimension of discipline is the ability to delay gratification. Distractions often present themselves as short-term pleasures that steal from long-term fulfillment. It is easier to scroll through a phone than to sit down and write, easier to binge, watch shows than to exercise, easier to chat aimlessly than to study. But every time you give in to the easy option, you reinforce the habit of distraction. Discipline is the conscious choice to endure short-term discomfort for the sake of long-term growth. It is the wisdom to understand that what feels good now may not serve you later, while what feels difficult now may create lasting rewards. When you practice delaying gratification, you strengthen your mental muscles, making it easier to resist future distractions. It is also important to recognize that discipline thrives when supported by an environment that reduces temptation. Willpower is a finite resource, and the more you rely on it, the quicker it drains. That is why the most disciplined people often engineer their environments to minimize distractions. If your intention is to read more books, keep them within reach and remove distracting devices from the room. If your intention is to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nourishing options and avoid buying junk food. If your intention is to focus deeply at work, create a workspace that signals productivity rather than clutter. Environment shapes behavior, and when your surroundings are aligned with your goals, discipline becomes far less about constant resistance and more about natural alignment. Discipline is not about rigidity, it is also about flexibility and awareness. There will always be unexpected interruptions, emergencies, opportunities, or changes in circumstances. Discipline does not mean ignoring them. It means being aware enough to decide consciously whether to engage with them or not. Without discipline, any interruption can derail you. With discipline, you can quickly evaluate whether the distraction deserves your attention or whether it should be postponed or ignored. This conscious decision-making keeps you in control rather than at the mercy of external forces. One of the most profound aspects of discipline is the way it builds self-respect. Every time you resist a distraction and honor your commitment, you strengthen the trust you have in yourself. You prove to yourself that your word matters, that your promises to yourself are not empty. This creates a cycle of confidence because the more you trust yourself to follow through, the more ambitious your goals can become. On the other hand, every time you break your own commitments, you weaken that trust and make it harder to believe in your capacity to succeed. Thus, discipline is not just about productivity, it is about identity. You become the kind of person who follows through, who finishes what they start, who stays focused despite noise. The relationship between discipline and distractions also extends to the quality of your attention. Modern society has conditioned many to live in a state of constant partial attention, switching rapidly between tasks without ever immersing deeply in one. But real breakthroughs, whether in art, science, or personal growth, require deep work. Discipline is what allows you to enter that state of immersion where creativity flows, insights emerge, and mastery develops. Each time you resist the urge to check your phone, glance at emails, or chase a new idea mid-task, you train your brain to remain present with what is in front of you. Over time, this ability to sustain attention becomes a superpower in a world addicted to distraction. There is also a spiritual dimension to discipline in overcoming distractions. Distractions are not just external interruptions. They are often symptoms of deeper restlessness or avoidance. Sometimes we chase distractions because we are uncomfortable with silence, afraid of failure, or unwilling to confront our true desires. Discipline in this sense becomes a form of inner alignment, a way of confronting what truly matters rather than running from it. When you choose discipline, you choose to face yourself honestly. You choose to confront the discomfort of growth instead of hiding behind momentary pleasures. In this way, discipline becomes not just a tool of success, but also a pathway to inner freedom. Practical strategies can make discipline more sustainable. Breaking tasks into smaller steps prevents overwhelm and makes it easier to resist distractions. Setting clear priorities each day ensures that even if unexpected events occur, your most important work gets done. Using techniques like time blocking or the Pomodoro method creates a structure that discourages aimless drifting. Accountability, whether through mentors, friends, or public commitments, also reinforces discipline by adding external support to your internal resolve. These strategies are not substitutes for discipline, but frameworks that make discipline easier to maintain. It is also worth noting that discipline and rest go hand in hand. Overcoming distractions does not mean working endlessly without pause. It means choosing intentionally how to use your time. Rest becomes part of discipline when it is chosen deliberately, not as a default escape into distraction. Breaks, relaxation, and play are vital, but they must be conscious, not compulsive. This distinction ensures that when you rest, you are truly recharging, and when you work, you are truly focused. Without this balance, discipline can turn into burnout, and distractions become even harder to resist. Overcoming distractions with discipline is not about creating a perfect life free of interruptions, but about cultivating the strength to return again and again to what matters most. It is about noticing when your focus has drifted and gently but firmly bringing it back. It is about building habits that align with your values and creating environments that support your vision. It is about proving to yourself that you are stronger than the noise around you and that your dreams deserve your full attention. Each act of discipline is a declaration that your future matters more than momentary diversions, that your growth matters more than instant gratification, and that your vision deserves the sacrifice of temporary comfort in exchange for lasting fulfillment. Building mental resilience is one of the greatest assets a person can cultivate because life inevitably brings challenges, disappointments, and unexpected obstacles that test the strength of the human spirit. Mental resilience is the ability to withstand adversity, adapt to change, and rise again after falling. It is not about avoiding hardship, but about learning how to endure and grow stronger through it. Every person, no matter how privileged or prepared, will encounter moments where plans collapse, people disappoint, or circumstances spiral out of control. What separates those who crumble from those who persevere is not luck or circumstance, but resilience, the inner capacity to bend without breaking, to continue forward despite the weight of struggle. Resilience is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows stronger with use. The more we confront challenges with a determined mindset, the more capable we become of facing the next challenge with greater confidence and clarity. At its core, mental resilience begins with perspective. The way we interpret experiences shapes our capacity to endure them. Two people can go through the same hardship and come out with completely different outcomes because of the meaning they attach to it. One may view failure as final, as proof that they are incapable, while another may view failure as feedback, as a stepping stone toward improvement. Resilient people are not those who never fall, but those who redefine what falling means. They train their minds to see difficulties not as permanent roadblocks, but as temporary detours. They recognize that pain, though uncomfortable, is often the soil from which growth emerges. By shifting perspective from victimhood to empowerment, they reclaim control over how hardship affects them. Another foundation of resilience is emotional regulation. When difficulties arise, emotions often surge: fear, anger, sadness, frustration. If these emotions are left unchecked, they can overwhelm and paralyze. But resilience does not mean suppressing emotions. It means acknowledging them without letting them dictate your actions. It is the ability to feel fear but move forward anyway, to feel sadness but not sink into despair, to feel anger but not be consumed by it. Resilient people develop tools for managing emotions, whether through mindfulness, deep breathing, journaling, or simply pausing before reacting. By creating space between stimulus and response, they choose actions that align with long-term growth rather than short-term impulses. Emotional mastery is one of the greatest indicators of resilience because it allows you to navigate storms with calm and clarity instead of panic and chaos. Resilience is also fueled by a strong sense of purpose. When you know why you are enduring hardship, you find the strength to keep going even when the journey feels unbearable. Purpose acts as a compass that directs you through the darkest nights. Think of a parent working multiple jobs to provide for their children, or an activist fighting tirelessly for justice. Their resilience does not come from sheer willpower alone, but from a deep sense of meaning that transcends personal comfort. When you anchor yourself in purpose, obstacles lose some of their power because you see them as part of a bigger mission. Without purpose, struggles feel empty and overwhelming, but with purpose, they become meaningful battles worth fighting. A key aspect of resilience is adaptability. Life rarely unfolds exactly as planned, and those who cling rigidly to one vision or method often break under pressure. Resilient individuals understand that flexibility is strength, not weakness. They are willing to adjust their strategies, reimagine their goals, and pivot when necessary. This adaptability does not mean abandoning their dreams. It means finding new paths toward them. A resilient entrepreneur, for example, may face business failure, but instead of giving up, they analyze what went wrong, adjust their model, and try again. Adaptability transforms setbacks into opportunities for reinvention, ensuring that no single failure has the power to define or destroy. Resilience also depends on self-talk. The voice in your head can either be your greatest ally or your harshest enemy. When setbacks occur, the mind often defaults to criticism. You're not good enough. This always happens to you. Why even bother? These thoughts erode resilience and make it harder to recover. Resilient people consciously cultivate self-talk that uplifts rather than destroys. They remind themselves that setbacks are temporary, that they have overcome before and can overcome again, that they are learning and growing with each challenge. This internal dialogue builds courage and determination. It is not about blind positivity or pretending everything is fine, but about choosing words that strengthen rather than weaken. An often overlooked element of resilience is community. While resilience is built within the self, it is often sustained by connection with others. Friends, family, mentors, or support networks provide encouragement when personal strength wavers. Sharing struggles with trusted others lightens the burden, and hearing stories of how others overcame adversity reminds us that we are not alone in our battles. Human beings are wired for connection, and resilience thrives when we lean on others for perspective, guidance, and comfort. Even the strongest individuals falter at times, but with the support of a community, they regain the strength to rise again. Physical well-being also plays a role in mental resilience. A body that is neglected makes it harder for the mind to stay strong. Lack of sleep, poor nutrition, and chronic stress weaken the ability to think clearly and respond calmly under pressure. On the other hand, caring for the body through exercise, rest, and balanced nourishment enhances the brain's capacity to cope with stress. The mind and body are deeply interconnected, and resilience grows when both are nurtured. A healthy body provides the stamina required to endure hardship and the clarity needed to make sound decisions during turbulent times. One of the hallmarks of resilient individuals is their willingness to learn from adversity. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" they ask, "What can I learn from this?" Each setback becomes a teacher, offering lessons that success could never provide. Failure teaches humility, patience, and perseverance. Loss teaches gratitude and appreciation for what remains. Hardship teaches creativity in finding solutions. Resilient people approach challenges with curiosity, extracting wisdom from even the most painful experiences. This learning mindset ensures that no struggle is wasted and every challenge contributes to personal growth. Resilience also requires patience. Recovery from setbacks and adaptation to change rarely happen overnight. There are seasons of hardship that feel endless, where progress is invisible and hope seems faint. In such times, resilience is the willingness to keep showing up, to keep trying, to keep moving forward one small step at a time. Patience prevents discouragement from becoming defeat. It acknowledges that healing, growth, and rebuilding take time, but trusts that persistence will eventually yield results. Patience transforms resilience from a momentary act of strength into a lifelong practice of endurance. Another crucial element is self-compassion. Many people respond to failure or hardship with harsh self-judgment, criticizing themselves for not being strong enough or smart enough. But this only deepens wounds and weakens resilience. Self-compassion, on the other hand, acknowledges imperfection without shame. It says, "I made a mistake, but I am still worthy. I am struggling, but I am still capable. I fell, but I can rise again." Treating yourself with kindness in the face of adversity builds resilience because it prevents discouragement from becoming self-destruction. It allows you to recover faster and return to challenges with renewed strength. Resilient people also cultivate hope. Hope is not naive optimism that denies reality, but a belief that no matter how difficult the present moment, the future holds the possibility of improvement. Hope fuels resilience by giving people something to strive toward. It keeps the spirit alive during hardship, whispering that better days are possible even when evidence is scarce. Without hope, resilience fades because the struggle feels meaningless. With hope, resilience is renewed because the struggle feels purposeful. Hope, combined with action, becomes an unstoppable force that sustains people through the darkest of circumstances. Resilience is tested most during moments of uncertainty, when the future is unclear and the path ahead feels unstable. In such times, the mind craves control, and the lack of it can create anxiety. Resilient individuals learn to embrace uncertainty as part of life. They focus on what they can control, their actions, attitudes, and responses, while releasing what they cannot. This acceptance reduces stress and allows them to conserve energy for what truly matters. Instead of fighting against the unknown, they flow with it, adjusting as new information emerges. This ability to stay calm and flexible in the face of uncertainty is one of the greatest strengths of resilience. Ultimately, building mental resilience is about preparing the mind not just for survival, but for growth. It is about becoming the kind of person who can face storms without losing faith, who can endure loss without losing love, who can encounter failure without losing courage. It is about training yourself to see challenges as teachers, emotions as guides, setbacks as temporary, and yourself as capable of rising again and again. Resilience does not mean life becomes easier, but it does mean you become stronger, more adaptable, and more unshakable in the face of whatever comes. It is the foundation upon which lasting success, happiness, and fulfillment are built, because it ensures that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you will always find the strength to rise. Turning setbacks into stepping stones is one of the most transformative skills a person can develop, because setbacks are an inevitable part of every journey. No matter how carefully plans are laid out, how much effort is invested, or how clearly a vision is defined, life has a way of presenting unexpected obstacles. Some of these setbacks appear small, like missing an opportunity or experiencing a minor failure, while others can feel earth-shattering, like losing a job, facing betrayal, or enduring a major personal crisis. What determines the long-term outcome is not the setback itself, but the way it is interpreted and used. Some people allow setbacks to define them, keeping them trapped in cycles of regret, fear, or self-doubt, while others use those very same experiences as platforms for growth, strength, and eventual success. The mindset that views setbacks as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks transforms pain into power, loss into wisdom, and difficulty into resilience. The truth about setbacks is that they are universal. Every person, no matter how successful or accomplished, has faced failures along the way. When looking at the lives of great innovators, leaders, or creators, one common theme emerges: their ability to rise after falling and to extract lessons from defeat. Thomas Edison famously failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, yet he reframed his failures as discoveries of ways that did not work. Walt Disney faced rejection after rejection before building one of the most successful entertainment empires in history. These examples show that setbacks are not signs of inability, but opportunities to refine strategies, deepen determination, and test how badly one wants to achieve a vision. People who understand this truth stop fearing setbacks and begin welcoming them as part of the process. One of the most powerful ways to transform setbacks into stepping stones is by changing perspective. A setback can be seen either as the end of the road or as a detour that redirects toward a better path. Perspective determines whether you view a closed door as rejection or redirection, whether failure signals defeat or instruction. When a person asks, "What can this experience teach me?" instead of, "Why did this happen to me?" they open themselves to growth. This shift in perspective does not erase the pain of setbacks, but it gives the pain purpose. And when pain has purpose, it becomes bearable and even valuable. The lessons learned through hardship often carry more weight and lasting impact than those learned through success. Resilience plays a critical role in this transformation. Without resilience, setbacks feel crushing, but with resilience, setbacks become manageable. Resilience provides the strength to stand back up after falling, but turning setbacks into stepping stones requires more than just bouncing back. It requires bouncing forward. It means not only recovering, but using the experience as a springboard towards something greater. For instance, a failed relationship may lead to deeper self-awareness that makes future relationships healthier. A lost job may spark the courage to pursue a passion that would never have been considered otherwise. A financial failure may teach lessons about discipline and resourcefulness that pave the way for long-term prosperity. In this way, setbacks are not just obstacles but essential catalysts for transformation. The role of mindset in this process cannot be overstated. A fixed mindset interprets setbacks as proof of limitations, while a growth mindset interprets them as evidence of progress. A person with a fixed mindset might say, "I failed, therefore I am not capable," while a person with a growth mindset might say, "I failed, therefore I am learning." This shift in language and belief makes all the difference. A growth mindset empowers people to experiment, to try again, and to keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. It transforms fear of failure into openness to discovery. Every setback becomes data, feedback that sharpens skills and strategies for the next attempt. Another critical factor is patience. Often, when setbacks occur, the immediate reaction is frustration or discouragement, fueled by the desire for quick results. But growth takes time, and the benefits of setbacks often reveal themselves only after consistent effort and reflection. Patience allows people to see beyond the immediate disappointment and trust that the struggle is shaping them for future opportunities. Without patience, setbacks breed bitterness. With patience, setbacks cultivate maturity and strength. Time reveals that many disappointments were, in fact, necessary detours that redirected paths toward more fulfilling destinations. The ability to turn setbacks into stepping stones also depends on self-awareness. Setbacks often highlight blind spots, weaknesses, or mistakes that need to be addressed. Instead of denying these flaws or blaming external circumstances, self-aware individuals confront them honestly. They ask questions such as, "What role did I play in this outcome?" Or, "What can I do differently next time?" This honesty may be uncomfortable, but it is liberating because it gives the power back to the individual. Blaming others or circumstances places control outside of oneself, but taking responsibility allows one to make changes that lead to growth. In this way, setbacks become mirrors that reflect areas for improvement, guiding the journey toward greater self-mastery. Support systems also play a vital role. Facing setbacks alone can feel overwhelming, but with mentors, friends, or communities, the burden becomes lighter. Others can offer perspective when emotions cloud judgment, encouragement when discouragement weighs heavy, and wisdom from their own experiences. By leaning on others during difficult times, people often discover that their struggles are not unique and that countless others have faced and overcome similar obstacles. This connection not only provides comfort, but also sparks hope that setbacks can indeed be transformed into opportunities for growth. One of the greatest examples of turning setbacks into stepping stones is the way people handle rejection. Rejection can feel deeply personal, whether it comes from a job application, a creative pursuit, or a personal relationship. Yet many of the most successful individuals were rejected multiple times before achieving breakthroughs. J.K. Rowling's manuscript for Harry Potter was rejected by numerous publishers before becoming one of the best-selling book series in history. Each rejection was a setback, but each also brought her closer to the eventual yes that changed her life. Rejection teaches persistence, strengthens resolve, and often sharpens the quality of work. What seems like a painful no in the present can be the very stepping stone that leads to a greater yes in the future. Another way setbacks serve as stepping stones is by fostering innovation. When old methods fail, creativity is forced to emerge. History is filled with discoveries that happened by accident, born out of failure in one area that led to breakthroughs in another. Post-it notes were created because of a failed attempt to make super strong glue. Penicillin was discovered because of an accident in a laboratory. These examples demonstrate that setbacks often create the conditions for creativity, innovation, and discovery. When something does not go as planned, it pushes the mind to think differently, to question assumptions, and to explore new possibilities. Setbacks also build character in ways that success cannot. Success is often celebrated, but it can breed complacency or arrogance if not grounded in humility. Setbacks humble us, reminding us of our limitations and teaching empathy for others who struggle. They teach perseverance, determination, and gratitude. A person who has endured hardship and risen again develops a strength of character that inspires others. Their story becomes a source of hope for those still in the midst of their struggles. In this way, setbacks not only shape the individual but also create ripple effects that uplift communities and even generations. Another powerful truth is that setbacks often reveal hidden strengths. People frequently discover capacities within themselves only when forced to face adversity. A person who loses their job may discover resilience, creativity, and courage they never knew they had as they rebuild. Someone who faces illness may uncover inner peace and strength that transforms their outlook on life. Adversity has a way of stripping away illusions and revealing the core of who we are. Setbacks become stepping stones when they uncover these hidden strengths and push us toward becoming more authentic, courageous, and capable versions of ourselves. A practical way to turn setbacks into stepping stones is through reflection. Taking time to analyze what happened, what went wrong, and what can be done differently creates clarity. Reflection transforms chaotic experiences into structured lessons. Without reflection, setbacks remain painful memories, but with reflection, they become valuable guides for the future. Journaling, meditation, or discussions with trusted mentors can all be tools for reflection that extract meaning from failure. Reflection ensures that the same mistakes are not repeated and that each challenge contributes to personal growth rather than stagnation. Setbacks also teach the importance of gratitude. It may seem counterintuitive to feel grateful in moments of loss or failure, but gratitude shifts attention from what has been lost to what remains. Gratitude reminds us that even in failure, there are lessons, relationships, or opportunities to be thankful for. This perspective softens the blow of setbacks and keeps the heart open rather than closed. Gratitude turns despair into hope and transforms pain into wisdom, making setbacks less of a burden and more of a blessing in disguise. Finally, setbacks can fuel determination like nothing else. When a person refuses to let a setback define them, the energy of disappointment often transforms into fuel for persistence. The pain of falling creates a hunger to rise stronger. Many people who achieve greatness look back and credit their setbacks as the moments that ignited their drive. Without those struggles, they may never have developed the grit or hunger required to push through to success. In this sense, setbacks are not just obstacles but necessary ingredients for greatness. They break comfort zones, test resolve, and forge strength that cannot be gained through ease.